1, 2, 3, 4.
Filled with awe and fright, see Jurassic Right. Bathed in amber light, see Jurassic Right. See Jurassic Right, right, right. See Jurassic Right, right, right. See Jurassic Right, right, right. See Jurassic Right. See Jurassic Right. See Jurassic Park.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to intro that. I mean, look, you're listening to See Jurassic Right. I'm Stephen Ray Morris, and I mean, just the accolades of this man. I mean, Jordan Jesse Go, Free With Ads, Bubble, Youth Group, upcoming Predator Bloodshed, and the amazing Spider-Man SPIDER-VERSITY. I'm going to say that correctly. Also, we both hail from Orange County and both have the last name Morris. It's Jordan Morris.
It's us, similar guys, two similar guys.
I feel like we just had
it up.
we had different ska bands because I was a Suburban Legends kid.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, you're a little younger than me, so you were into the Suburban Legends while I was into Save Ferris. So
yes.
Just,
completely different, like
exactly. How do we even relate to each other? We're just like aliens.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you've been doing a lot of geeky stuff lately, getting to do comic books and everything. Like, how does that feel? I feel like, because just having worked with you and just being a fan of Jordan Jesse Go over the years and stuff, like, what does it now feel like being like, oh, I get to write Predator, I get to write Spider-Man?
It's really fun. It's one of those things where it's like, maybe the expectation is, you get to do something like this. Like for I've always wanted to write for comics, and definitely like part of that dream includes like writing for these characters that I've loved for so long. And you get to do it. And I think there's this weird thing in the back of your head, or at least there was for me. It's like, okay, I'm going to get to do this thing, but it's going to like shatter my illusions, and it's going to be miserable. And, it's got this dark side, and like, no, it's great. Sometimes you get your dream and it's cool. I'm like, these things definitely have their challenges, and, they are sometimes different than you dreamed about, but like, it's really cool. Like, really cool people make comics. Like, you're not in comics unless you love it. Like, there's not a lot of like, people who are in comics because there's a lot of money in it, because there's not. So I think if you're doing it, then you love it. And so like automatically the people I'm working with, I have a connection with, because we both love this art form that is getting more and more archaic by the day. And and it usually, and I think it just attracts a kind of like fun, like pop culture geek that is like, that like loves the stuff and is serious about it and smart about it. And I think that just like working with those types of people is really fun. And I think that like I'm getting to work with great people, and like where I'm the least experienced guy in the room, and I'm getting like learn so much from people. I don't know, it's really fun, and I'm really lucky. All the comic stuff I've done has like turned out great. Not just because of my script or whatever, but because I've gotten to work with such great artists and great editors and people who know what they're doing. So like, I am very lucky in that I didn't have to do the thing where I made a bunch of bad zines or, or a bunch of bad like web comics to like work my way up. I was just like a guy who wrote in some other mediums who like got to work with these cool pros. So the stuff is turning out good. I don't know. I'm really like, whenever I revisit some of that stuff, or whenever I'm like looking over like art, like a temp art or, more final art, there's a lot of that in comics, a lot of spot checking stuff, a lot of like, look at the pencils and look at the inks. Like these are all phases of the art. Like, I'm always like, man, this is cool. This is good. I'm really lucky in that I've got to work with like awesome pros on all these things.
That's so cool. To me, I'm really struck by our experience. I feel like this was maybe a year ago with like having Brian Michael Bendis on JJ Go at the Revenge of, and it was one of those things where he was like such an approachable, sweet, lovely human being, and then anybody who would see like that we did that, who are like obsessed with comics, they're like, that guy is a literal fucking walking legend. And he just seems like the most confident and like assured in his own legacy.
Totally. He loves it. Like Brian Michael Bendis, like invented a lot of characters. Like he invented Miles Morales, for instance, but also like kind of invented the MCU. Like those Marvel movies are, if they're adapting anything, they're adapting Bendis comics. Like Nick Fury looking like Samuel L. Jackson. The whole tone of them is just stuff from Bendis comics. And that guy is just nice and sweet and does signings at local shops and takes pictures with people at cons. Yeah. And I think that's a good example of like the sweetie that is drawn to comics, right? It's just a person who's geeked out to be there and who likes fans. And yeah, it's just like kind of happy to be there. And obviously there are jerks, there are assholes. We could name a few if we wanted to, but I think by and large, the industry seems to be full of Bendises, of just like people who are stoked about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and just to go back to the beginning, because I feel like as a kid, I weirdly struggled with comics because it's like I wanted to read the words and then I would like, oh, wait, I skipped the entire pictures. Do you remember like the first time you read a comic book or when you kind of like locked into that?
I don't, I feel like I always read them and they were always around in the house. I think that like for me, they were like things my parents would get us in the grocery store to get us to shut up. Like, I think that comics in grocery stores was a big thing. Like when I was a kid, and it's not really anymore. Like you can maybe get an Archie digest at the checkout sometimes. And maybe some grocery stores have little racks of whatever, but that was just something that was in a grocery store, was a rack of comics. And I think we would always just like get them on trips to the store because they cost $1 or $2 or whatever. And we were always like, we had a lot of books and stuff around the house. And so we had a lot of comics. Yeah. I never went through that thing where I had to like train my brain because we had them around, but I do know that it's a barrier of entry for people. And yet I will say, if you're one of those people, if you're like, oh, comics is a little bit, baffling. And how do I do that thing where I absorb the photo and then, or absorb the drawing and then absorb the words? Like reading them digitally is kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
If you at least the Marvel app anyways, and I'm being a real company man here. I'm like, the app's great. It has a smart feature where it kind of zooms into what you're supposed to be paying attention to. So it'll zoom into the bubble and then kind of zoom out to give you the picture of what's going on. Anyway, if you're comics curious and, but kind of have that issue where it doesn't track sometimes, give it a shot digitally. I think it's really fun.
That's cool. Yeah. For me, it was Scott Pilgrim. It was Brian Lee O'Malley,
totally.
Seconds, like in college when that was really kind of like when at the tail end of college for me, like after I graduated was when the movie came out.
Yeah.
And it was just hearing about these comics that were more about life, even though they were very much nostalgic for our childhood video games and movies and stuff. That kind of was my entry to it. Were you, because I feel like we had similar interests growing up as far as like the geeky properties and things. Mm-hmm. Was it superheroes and stuff like Godzilla, which you've written for, and Predator and things, or what? Were you a big? Did your family take you to the movies a lot growing up? What was kind of like the way you absorbed?
Yeah, we definitely went to see a lot of movies in theaters. And then I think like, and I think like superhero stuff was all around when I was a kid. Like, it just kind of started breaking out into like, not started, but there was definitely a boom in the 90s of like other stuff featuring comic characters. The X-Men cartoon, a great example. Yeah. And the trading cards were a big deal. Like, I don't know if those made it to your elementary school experience, but like the foil cards and getting the hologram one and it having all their powers on the back, like that was a big deal. And like video games were kind of starting to get good about superheroes. So it wasn't just like the comics, but like here's a whole ecosystem of stuff you can get into if you're an obsessive kid. So that was all really big. And then, then the movies kind of started and that, and that like, just makes you more obsessed with it.
No, for sure. And I think, again, thinking about Orange County, I feel like it was so, because I talked to some people who are like, especially post lockdown, and some people didn't really go back to the movies. I feel like you and I are still love, we love Nicole Kidman. We
do, yes, and we and you know what? And we still clap when she comes on screen. Some people aren't clapping at the Nicole intro anymore, but I say let's keep that up.
Yeah, I remember a friend coming with me to see The Boy and the Heron, which is already like, you're seeing a Miyazaki movie the opening night. You're seeing the Japanese dub, and for some reason, our entire theater recited the, Heartbreak Feels Good.
Sure.
And he just was looking around like, what cult have I stumbled into?
Right. I know. I think that's so fun. And it always feels like, these days they're saying that like theater going is doomed. And it is kind of fun to be like, hey, we're still into this and let's do it and make it a fun event. And it's not a weird thing that you have to complain about because somebody's using their cell phone. It's like, this is fun. It's a communal thing. And there can be little like memes and traditions that go along with it. I don't know. I think that's great.
What were your favorite? Yeah, because now obviously everyone has to be like, I'm Star Wars, all that kind of thing. But like, what were your favorite like movies growing up? Was there a franchise that you locked into, or again, were you mostly superheroes, or did you? Yeah, what were you into?
Yeah, well, I mean, pertinent to this podcast, I think at the time when I saw it, Jurassic Park was the greatest thing I had ever seen. I mean, I was so blown away by it. And it was. I mean, I was a kid of many interests, but I mean, dinosaurs. I was a fucking dinosaur kid.
Yeah.
We had so many dinosaur books. I feel like every gift I got as a kid was like from a natural history museum gift shop.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, when Jurassic Park came out, oh my God, it's like, this is it. So that was a big one for me. And and I still will see every JP movie opening night and buy it on Blu-ray afterwards, even the ones that aren't as good as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
They're all kind of great.
Well, I see the thing I feel like I've locked into, especially I feel like you have such a good attitude as a fan of things, because we live in a world where people take things too seriously. You've joked all the time about people approaching you with bad Superman ideas, comics and stuff like.
Yes.
Was that something growing up where you're like, cool, I like this story. Do I need to learn Elvish? Like, what was that experience? Because I don't know. I think my friends were really super into that. I had a friend, he loved the Empire and like wanted to dress up like the Empire, was like into it hardcore. But I feel like I was surrounded by people like that. But I don't know, what was your experience like?
No, I am very, very lucky in that I have not had to deal with like toxic fandom that much. Now, am I a straight white guy? You bet. So do I just get to be into whatever I want to and no one gives me shit for it? Yeah. So, with that in mind, I was pretty lucky in that I got to be into stuff without a ton of judgment. So I mean, I think we all have that moment we can remember where you're like, I like this thing. And someone does the whatever the equivalent is of name 5 songs. So I do have a handful of experiences like that. I do know what it's like to go into a comic book store and have the weirdo behind the counter like roll his eyes and at what you're buying. So those things have happened to me, but not so much to where I was scared off of liking the things.
Sure.
And you mentioned ska bands. Like when you're a kid and you're like getting into live music and anything that's even kind of punk scene adjacent, you do have to deal with like people calling you a poser and being weird to you because you're not dressed right and stuff. But I think for the most part, I was very lucky in that I just got to be into stuff and without too much judgment. And I wish that for the nerds of today. I wish that for young nerds that they just get to like be into the stuff without too much bullshit that goes along with it. And I didn't really have to deal with the internet. Like we kind of had a computer with AOL when I left to college and, but like having internet in a college dorm was the first time I really had it. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to deal with like message board weirdos or social media weirdos. And that's, I know, a big part of like where you experience toxic fandoms. So I was very lucky.
I really do like this idea of your lore that the punk scene and the ska scene trained you to handle the the nerds.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, what is a punk rock kid but a nerd who dresses kind of tough, you know?
Yeah. And when you're writing this stuff, again, like you're jumping into Predator, you're jumping into Spider-Man and Godzilla. Do you feel like there is pressure to know everything, or do these companies almost like, well, no, here's like all the rules for Godzilla and here's all the rules for Predator? Like, what is that even process like?
Yeah, it's slightly different with each property, but I can talk about a couple of the experiences. So Godzilla was lovely. The Godzilla comic I did was Godzilla versus Los Angeles. It's part of something IDW Comics is doing, where Godzilla smashes a different American city in every issue. Yes, ours was a wildfire charity thing, which was really great. I think you can still grab a copy out there. Yeah, and like Godzilla's always been a continuity light franchise. Like even in the movies, the continuity is so weird and all over the place. Like how they reset, but they keep the first movie canon, but the new that it's wild. There's the eras of Godzilla. He's like Taylor Swift in that way, of so many eras. So they didn't really care about it referencing any other movies or anything. They just like have some stuff that they abide by, like he can't eat people, he can only eat fish. And actually I say he, but they do like Godzilla to be referred to as it. They like Godzilla to not have a gender. Okay. So there's that part of it. They say it for Godzilla. Godzilla's noise is screonk. That's the canonical noise, screonk. So if Godzilla is going to make a noise, that's what it is.
I love that.
Yeah, but as far as that story goes, it didn't have to like tie into anything. Predator has been kind of interesting in that the movies are all canon. There are some Marvel comics that are canon. So basically what they said to me when we started the project is like, just put it in a time period where there hasn't been anything. So you don't really have to like deal with, well, you know, where's Dutch or where's Deck or Thea. Our thing is kind of a near future thing. It's kind of like after anything you've seen, you know, that's like a modern Predator story, but not quite as far as in the future as like Badlands. So that's kind of how we were able to tell a story where you didn't have too many nitpicks. And there are some like Easter eggs and stuff like that if you are a completist, but for the most part, it's pretty one and done. I think you even told me the phrase "no homework sequel."
Yes, I love that phrase. Yeah,
me too. I was thinking about it too. It's like I do want this to kind of be a no homework sequel to where you don't. Yeah, just like if you kind of know who the Predator is, you can read this thing. So yeah.
Well, and to your point, I think we have seen, and we're seeing all the big movies, we're seeing all the big blockbusters. There has been such an energy of like, can we just have fun again? You know?
Yeah, I know. And I think that's the like, yeah, and that's the thing people like say about the MCU is that the fans love it so much, but if you are just a casual, you feel a little bit lost sometimes. So yeah, I think that those are really fun stories to tell us. Like if you like this character, but you haven't absorbed everything they've ever been in, you can still like have fun on this thing. And I think that's kind of what we're trying to do with Predator Bloodshed. I should say the general premise is the Predator gets out at a underground fighting tournament, kind of like Mortal Kombat, and just wreck shop there. So
hell yeah. Oh my God. I didn't know the premise behind that.
I know. I also love your Mortal Kombats and your Street Fighters. Seems like a great place for the Predator. And art by Rory Coleman and Roland Boshi, both doing a great job on the book.
Awesome. And you played a lot of video games growing up.
Yes.
And I feel like, again, it's one of those things where you think about modern fandom and then video games. It's just like, all right, here's the sequel. Like, let's have fun. Like, there wasn't this kind of preciousness to it. It felt like.
Yeah, I like, of course. Yeah, I think that when we were kids, you just kind of, video games just got cranked out in a way that they don't really now. Now they do have to be a little more like movies where it's an event and it's a reimagining and stuff like that. But yeah, we definitely grew up in the era of hastily cranked out video game sequels for sure. But also it maybe didn't, attract the gatekeepy fandoms because of that reason, And now I think video games, in addition to like they're great fans, also have the kind of weird gatekeepers too.
I know, and you're just like, I mean, especially now to me, there's so many ways to play a video game. Like right before we were podcasting, I was like, oh, I'm playing the Avatar game, and I'm like, honestly, I just want to wander around in the woods, and like vibe out. Like I don't like, totally. It feels weird to gatekeep something like that. Like you don't have to play the missions if you don't want to.
Yeah, totally. And I think the people who make those games, especially those big open world games like the Avatar game, it's like they are fine if you just want to walk around and like see the stuff and collect berries and stuff. So yeah, I think they are like. Video games are realizing that there's just a lot of different kinds of gamers. And if you can like make something that can be played in a bunch of different ways, you like grow your audience.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to trading cards because I feel like that's something more recently. I feel like it feels like it's hard to explain to people what the appeal of it was.
Yeah.
What was it for you growing up?
I will say that I don't totally have the collector's gene. I have a couple things that I really like, but I'm definitely not a like, I have to get the whole set of something on eBay guy.
Yeah.
But I think there's an element like when you're a kid, you have your little kid treasure box of just stuff. And I think trading cards are great for that. They're great for like putting in your little kid treasure box and carrying around and counting and stuff like that. They're great for that. But I think if you are someone with that like total completist streak, you're just obsessed. You're obsessed with getting the whole set, of finding the variants, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a good parallel to video games like we were talking about. It's like there's just a lot of ways to do trading cards and comics too with like covers, like if you're in for the story, cool. If you're into collecting every variant cover, that's something you can do as well.
Yeah.
I didn't have crazy collections, but it was a way to like get to know the characters. It was they're always in an awesome pose on the card, and there was that factoid sheet on the back, which I was really into. It's like, and it was and it's a great like entry to the character because like if you've only seen them, there's no internet at this point. It's like, okay, who is Psylocke? She has these powers. She's good. Here's her power levels, So where if you see that character and you're obsessed with the design, because that's the great genius of these things, is like the design just hooks you. Like I went to Disneyland with my 2-year-old nephew recently, and he doesn't know who Spider-Man is, but just saw him at Disneyland is like obsessed already. Just like the design of Spider-Man. It's just such a hooker. And I think that's what trading cards were. It's like, here's this thing, you like it already, you're into it, and here's a little crash course in it on the back.
Yeah. No, I feel like especially too, because it was like VHS was around, but there were just companies were like, how do we get people to keep talking about this thing, keep playing with this thing beyond, us rewatching it all the time kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's like when there is so much stuff, it's just like, if you're a little kid and you're kind of nerdy, here's all this stuff that's going to keep your interest till the next movie comes out or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's my favorite bit of weird lore from the Jurassic Park trading cards is when they have like the character cards, and there's a Hammond. The Hammond one says he walks with a cane, but he may be faking it, and you're like, wait, what lore is this?
Know that.
You're like, what lore did they just drop on this trading card? Is that canon? Like, what the hell,
Right, and then you can go to school the next day and go, he maybe didn't need that cane. A lot of people are saying that maybe Hammond didn't have to walk with the cane. That's cool. I hadn't heard that before, and that's a funny little detail to put on a trading card.
Yeah. It is just one of those things that I think about every once in a while. Because, it's as a kid, too, I think with our parents, we couldn't be completionist, and there wasn't the reverence. Like, I feel like it would be really hard to be a kid now because your parents are like, keep it in the box and it could be worth something. And that seems like a lot of pressure on a kid now.
Yeah. And I've seen that argument made about comics a lot, is like, because I think the issue is like, or an issue is like, how are we getting the new generation into comics? Like, how do you make it not just a hobby for guys our age, for obsessive guys our age? It's like, you do need kids to be into these things to like keep shops open and to like keep publishers publishing. And it's like part of it is don't convince them that these things are so valuable you can't touch them. Let kids throw it in their backpack. I've seen that phrase a lot, and I think is great. Of like, fine, give them the comic, let them ruin it. You know, like let them take it to school, let them get jelly on it. Like let kids, and I think that's part of the reason why these like compact issues have been doing so well. Have you seen those in shops?
No.
Like, so DC and Marvel both have versions of this, and they're between $10 and $15, and it is a like compact, more book-like version of like a famous comic book story. It's like, I think there's one for Watchmen, All-Star Superman has one, the Winter Soldier has one. So it's these famous stories, and you can get them in these little cheap versions, and it's just like, kids can toss them in their backpack. They can ruin it. They can leave it on the bus, and it's not a big deal. And I think that like, something we can do to help kids get into comics is like stop treating them as these weird collectibles that you can't touch or enjoy. Like, it's just something cheap for a kid. That's why I got them. It's because like, here, this is $2. You know, like we should treat them like that because, kids don't want to slab something in Lucite. They want to read it and fuck with it and tear out the pages and make a collage from it. Like, let them do that. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, like it's. I feel like the idea of free comic book day is so cool because
totally. Yeah.
Is there any other toy collectible like thing now? Like, I feel like free comic book day is like the only version of that of any, you know, there's no like free Beanie Baby, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like free Labubu Day. Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude, Matt, that's when the massacre happens.
I know. Yeah, exactly. That's when things are really going to go to shit. I should say too, wonderful segue. I don't know if you knew this. There is a Predator Bloodshed side story that is coming out for free comic book day.
Oh, cool.
So
no, I didn't know that.
A little like it is self-contained, but does tie into the larger story. And I'm so stoked about that. And I think free comic book day is great. And I think that's the kind of thing they're trying to do. It's just like, here's some stuff for kids. They can ruin it. Like, it's free. It's not this crazy expensive collectible. Yeah. And I think that's great. And I think that is totally one of the things that Free Comic Book Day is trying to do. May 2nd this year at your local comic book store.
Nice. Okay, great.
And it is great to just like have an excuse to get kids into those stores, which are, having a harder time staying open these days.
What, because you mentioned that you like, because doing a Jurassic Park podcast, we talk about a lot of things, but it is one of those things where like, obviously I'm invested in enjoying all the movies, regardless of if they're good or not. Like, I'm going to spend the extra, it's kind of like my a recent guest, Kirsten Formosa, who's seen Avatar Fire and Ash 14 times in theaters, makes all this wonderful content, about the biology of the creatures and everything. She's an amazing scientist. She is invested in the world. And but I it's one of those things where it's almost like, as a fan of Jurassic, it's like so many people have written off all the movies, but I'm kind of like, dinosaurs and fun. But what are like for you when you're watching these sequels over the years growing up, do you remember being like, I don't know about this one, but you know what? We see a guy, we see Richard Skiff get flipped up in half and do you remember, of any of the sequels, things that you liked about them, or you were like, you know what? I'm fine with this. This is cool.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I think we've just talked about casually, not on a podcast.
Yeah.
But I do, when it came out in 2001 or 2 or whatever, remember being kind of disappointed in 3.
Yes.
The kind of the black sheep of the franchise for a while. But, I mean, when you revisit that movie, you're like, this is a fucking blast. This rules. I don't know. It's such a funny, weird little movie. And, it's got Taya Leone and William H. Macy going through a divorce. And, it's got a lot of weird, creaky stuff. But, the Jurassic shit in that movie is great. It's got the pteranodon. The pteranodon aviary is such a cool little set piece and a cool little addition to the world. Yeah, I don't know, and I think I probably had a moment in my life when I was just into college or something where I maybe was leaning a little bit more pop culture snob. I remember having similar feelings about Alien versus Predator. That kind of like, well, this is a disappointing entry in the franchise. Well, this is not, this doesn't have the, and whatever my complaints were at the time. And then maybe those movies came out around the same time, JP3 and AVP.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That was, because like Alien Resurrection was kind of like far in the rear view.
Yeah.
And, Prometheus wasn't going to come out till 2012.
Right. And like I rewatched Alien versus Predator recently. I'm like, this rips. Like the Predator's a guy in a suit. The Queen's a big puppet. They're in an ice pyramid. Yeah. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I maybe had a moment where I was, somebody who picked things apart in that way that made you not enjoy them. And I think and I think there's something to like when you start to do it, when you do start to kind of write and make stuff and make these things, I don't know. I think sometimes it softens you. I think it softens you as a creative person to like, what's hard about this? And I feel like sometimes it makes me, when I don't know, now that I do it and I look at stuff, I'm like, I'm kind of appreciating what they did or what they were trying to do or what's hard about telling one of these stories. I don't know. So I think for me, once I started to like do it, I became a little more soft and a little more like understanding of something that has weirdness or weird foibles. And like, I don't know. I try and have fun at these.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes people go to them like the extreme like fan sometimes goes to the thing like, well, this is gonna suck,
Yeah,
like,
no, for sure.
I go to anything like that. And I think a lot, sometimes Star Wars people do that. Sometimes Star Wars people go to the thing and they think they're gonna hate the thing and they whatever. Yeah, I go trying to love it and love things about it and not expect everything to be the perfect first one,
Yeah, of course. I recently, as of this recording, saw Deep Blue Sea in theaters again at Vidiots.
See, yeah.
And the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, I watched that for our podcast Free with Ads recently.
Amazing.
I had never seen the Power Rangers movie.
Wait, really? Oh my god.
Yeah. I missed Power Rangers completely. Okay. So any Power Rangers media I consume, I'm trying to like if I was 8, how would I feel about this?
Yeah, no, I think Power Rangers, it's not something you're going to be like, oh, this is some lost masterpiece, but you're just sort of like, it's like 85 minutes sopping wet. It never overstays its welcome. It's silly. It's fun.
There's a guitar solo going on at all times. There's always someone soloing on the soundtrack. I
think it's the highest high five ratio in any movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're always high fiving, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just one of those things that, like, going into the movie being like, to what you were saying earlier, it's like movies have like things have conventions of the genre, and if they're hitting those, that's what the goal is,
Yeah, and I think you can be a smart, critical viewer who realizes when something doesn't work, but like it shouldn't be at the expense of your own good time. You know, like give yourself the gift of having fun.
Yeah. And I will say we haven't quite locked it in yet, but Rosie Knight and I will potentially be hosting a 25th anniversary screening of Jurassic Park 3 this summer.
Okay. Very cool. Yes.
We haven't locked in all the details yet.
I will keep an eye on, I'll buy a ticket. I'm there on opening night. That's really fun.
Because I think, to your point, like, I feel like in the last couple years, I think almost combined with the No Homework sequel, we are reevaluating a lot of the like lesser sequels from the 90s and the early 2000s and being like, wait, that like doesn't overstay its welcome. And it isn't, it's just not weighed down by like the expectations of having to be everything to everyone.
Sure. Totally. And and I think that's kind of where franchise movie making is. I think a lot of times they feel like they're made by committee and totally. And right. And trying to like hit all these quadrants and be fine for a million people, fine for, a ton of people, but not amazing for anyone. So yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you feel like, because also you did your own graphic novels, Bubble and Youth Group, and now you're writing comics,
Yeah.
Well, Archie, right, was your first one?
Archie was my first licensed comic. Archie's Chilling Adventures. They do. There's I think they have put them on pause or aren't doing them for the time being. But yes, Archie for a while had a line of horror comics where they would all just like get killed in every issue. So, and that talk about continuity light. A continuity light company, they don't care. Archie can die in every issue. It's fine. Yeah. So yeah, that was my first licensed comic, and I think it was the thing that got me my future jobs as a writer of licensed comics.
That's so cool. So you're still able to enjoy new media coming out now, knowing how the sausage is made, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's given me a better appreciation of it, and kind of knowing what it's like to work with something where you need notes and studio input and stuff like that. And I really appreciate when like someone can make something that's cool and personal within that, because there are a lot of, constraints. You can't just do whatever you want to. Like there were some things they told me I couldn't do with the Predator that I wanted to originally. But yeah, I think you do realize that when you are writing in this zone, it's not just only what you want to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cooks. There's a lot of cooks. And I think when you can make something that still feels unique and personal in some way and weird in some way, then it's really cool.
I know. I really did want the Predator to go to the Chapel Roan concert. I knew that you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I know. Sure. They're like, well, we ran it by Chapel's people, and she's just not sure. Here's my pitch. Okay. I mentioned taking my nephew to Disneyland. Put the Predator in Disneyland.
Oh,
you can
my goodness.
do it. Disney owns him.
Yeah.
Like, just have the guy stalking around. Maybe you have him you can go in his ship and he has the skulls of all the Disney characters in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Put the Predator in Disneyland.
I mean, I did like that last summer, because, all the toy companies will make exclusive Comic-Con stuff.
Yeah.
And they did a Lost World themed, exclusive set that was the T-Rex rampaging through San Diego.
Cool.
But they had it basically rampaging through Comic-Con.
That's great.
And so it came with like a guy in like a T-Rex, like the inflatable costume. And I was like, that's a really creative toy that you wouldn't, I don't know. It just was like a nice ode to the whole, I don't know, the love of this stuff that isn't like literally a thing in the movie.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, you obviously go to Comic-Con a bunch. Is it fun to go when you're on a panel and you're getting to sign stuff? Like, what has that experience been like for you?
It's awesome. It's really, really fun. It's one of those things where I'm just like, it's like, what's it like to do something you've always wanted to do? It's really fun. It's cool. You should do it. Yeah, it is. It's a blast. I understand being a fan who doesn't want to go to a con. There are a lot sometimes. They can be kind of expensive, X, Y, Z. But if you are someone who's like, this is my thing, they can be so much fun. And yeah, it is great to go and hand sell somebody a book and sign somebody's book and hear what they thought of it. It's really fun. I really like doing them. And yeah, I'm so glad they're like a part of this stuff, a part of like geek entertainment is still cons and stuff like that. They're really neat.
Do you feel like, as far as the difference between podcasting and you've written for TV and comics, like, are those experiences any different, or is it everyone still coming with the same kind of energy as far as getting to meet people who actually enjoy your work?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a similarness to all this stuff, because I think it just like it is. we're not making, I'm trying to think of like an example of an entertainment product that people are just like fine with. We're not making Wheel of Fortune. Like,
sure. Yeah.
You're making stuff for people who like stuff intensely. And I think that's podcasts. And I think that's the TV I've worked on. And I think that's the comics I've worked on. It's like, this is stuff for people who are intense about a kind of pop culture. And that's kind of part of the fun, is that you're making something for a passionate audience, and you are making someone with like something I really like about comics is that you can assume that the reader has a like baseline pop culture knowledge. I think, like, I'm assuming my mom will flip through my Predator comic and not know what's going on,
sure.
Right? But like, if you're doing this, I'm like, okay, well, I assume that like, yes, you're buying this because you know who the Predator is, and also you kind of know what Mortal Kombat is, and the thing we're riffing on, and we don't have to explain like an underground fighting tournament just because someone reading is like, oh yeah, like Mortal Kombat, like you don't have to do that extreme table setting or hand holding. So I think that's part of what makes this stuff fun, and I think it's something I really like about comics is like you assume the audience knows some shit,
Yeah. Do you have any tips for like convention going? Like, I'm always somebody that's like, bring a bag with some hand sanitizer, maybe a snack or two, like just know where bathrooms are. Maybe like know where a bathroom is not in the convention hall, like a place you can get away if you're feeling kind of, a little like overstimulated.
Yep. All this is all true. Yes, hand sanitizer. Yes, bathroom. No, a secret bathroom. Have a bathroom plan. Okay. So when I do these, I like to stay in those chain hotels that have the free breakfast.
Ooh, okay.
That class, like a Hampton Inn.
Yeah.
Not just because these are budget friendly options mostly, but that free fucking breakfast. It's not great. It's not. But it's this high protein fuel thing you can do at the beginning of the day to kind of like lay down a base, because the food in the convention center will be bad, or it'll be a food truck with a giant line that you can't get through. Ugh. And it's like, if you just have a base, if you can get down those steam tray eggs in the morning that they're laying out for free, and you can grab stuff, you can grab fruit and bars and bagels and stuff to bring with you. So the chain hotel free breakfast, I think, is essential. And something I like about cons that I think is totally part of the fun. I like that a lot of the socializing happens at hotel bars. I love hotel bars, and I love that like just like finding the hotel bar everyone has agreed to go to. That can be a blast, and that is such a fun way to interact with people of a like, it's still the con, like people are still dressed as Sailor Moon. Largely. Yeah. They're still in the stuff, and you are still having that con experience around a bunch of other geeks, but it's like a little more laid back. It's a little more grown up, but it still has that like fun energy. So I'm saying make that hotel bar crawl part of your con experience, because that's the stuff right there.
Yeah, and I feel like, especially with San Diego being like the biggest example, when you're right in the gas lamp, I feel like, especially when I was, first starting to go to Comic-Con, you end up just like, all right, every restaurant is double the price, and you're waiting 2 hours. And if you're if you're with more than 5 people, everyone starts to get cranky. Yep. Just go a few extra blocks. And
that too. That like, yes. If you're looking for food or seating, just go away from the convention center for a little bit. Yeah.
Is there somebody you've met that you've admired, in your career so far? Like, especially going into the comic space that you are like, awesome. This is cool.
Oh, I mean, Bendis was a huge one. Bendis is awesome. And the fact that like Bendis is like aware of things I've done is so cool. Hard to get a cooler one than that. I've just like been his reader for so long. But I've gotten to meet a lot of cool people with this stuff. Like, I mean, the thing you mentioned at the top that we haven't really talked about yet is SPIDER-VERSITY. That is a kind of a Spidey family story that's kind of taking place in the world of the Amazing Spider-Man comics. And like I'm co-writing that with Joe Kelly. Like Joe Kelly wrote, he's written all these great Superman comics. He did the Superman comic that introduced the Authority, I think, which is like a famous villain set. And also, it was Joe Kelly's idea to make Deadpool funny. That was him.
Whoa.
Deadpool was serious.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's like cool to just be on Zoom calls with him and kicking around ideas. It's really cool. Yeah. So.
That's awesome. I feel like comics is similar to me because I have a lot of friends in animation and they're like, oh yeah, like I work in the same office as the guy who like animated the genie or like Simba, like, and you're like,
totally.
What? That's nuts.
Slight correction. I had to Google my Joe Kelly statements.
Yeah.
He created the Elite, not the Authority. I do believe the Authority was Grant Morrison thing. The Elite. I'm sorry. Anyway.
I mean, this has been so great, Jordan. It's been nice to just get your full history. As far as like, just wrapping up with some like Jurassic stuff. Is there because I think the Jurassic World movies, they really went big. Is there a moment that you love, like an over the top dinosaur death or human death, I should say, at the hands or at the claws of a dinosaur?
Yes.
Or something like that you really were like, this is awesome. Like, why aren't more people into this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the world movies are all over the place, and I think that's kind of part of what's fun about them. And like Dominion, Dominion's a weird movie with like that's all over the place, but like that subplot about the woman who flies the bomber who smuggles dinosaurs. Yeah. I'm like, I think this is maybe the movie. Like this is. Maybe let's just do the movie about this. Yeah. So yeah, I like that so much. I like that motorcycle chase they do with the raptors through like the marketplace. I think that's really cool and inventive and really kind of like silly, but also just kind of in the adventure spirit of the thing. So I don't know. I think that like that movie with all its weirdness like has these awesome moments. And I think like the whole subplot about like I'm the hot shot who smuggles dinosaurs. I don't know, kind of cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I interviewed her on this podcast, DeWanda Wise.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
She's great.
And I think she was such a standout. And I hope that
totally,
when they do Rebirth 2, like,
right.
That's what, again, it's like all these legacy sequels we had literally, Ian Holm essentially in Alien Romulus. Like they'll find ways to bring back people, So
I think coming to Disney Plus very soon there is a Darth Maul series. So everything comes back, even if it seems to have died in the first movie.
Well, what is it, right? That everybody comes back except for Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've heard that too.
Have they ever brought him back in the MCU in any way?
There are. Yeah, I mean, I think there's like alternate universes where Uncle Ben is still alive, but I do think that like, I think that is maybe something they'll never do in like Marvel, the main continuity, because that is just like such a motivator for Spider-Man. So yeah,
sure. What's one movie that you've liked recently that has come out?
Bone Temple. Have you seen Bone Temple?
I haven't seen it yet.
Bone Temple.
Okay.
Bone Temple is so good. Like, I was not prepared for it to be so good. I was prepared for it to be rad. Like, I liked 28 Years Later. Bone Temple. People need to talk about Bone Temple in the same way they talk about Weapons and Sinners. It's that good. Okay. It's like it should get Oscar nominations. Like, it's awesome. And I feel like film social media has failed it because they're not talking about it like they are Weapons and Sinners. Like I don't know. I think it's a classic. I think it's great. I think it's the best horror movie I've seen in a good long while.
Wow.
And and it is also like awesome and weird and funny. And it has all these like weird details. I don't know. It's great. I think that if I kind of get it. You're like, oh, it's the sequel that came out kind of soon. And it seems like maybe they just cranked it out or whatever. It's its own thing. It's a vision. It's so funny and weird. I don't know. Bone Temple.
Cool. I mean, you're the second person this week who's like, what the fuck? Go see it.
Yeah, totally. And see it in a theater too. It's a great theater movie for it's got a set piece that's like one of the most amazing things that's been in a movie. So anyway.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jordan.
Thank you.
Yeah, this will come out. Well, when does stuff come out? I can,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Predator Bloodshed on February 25th. First issue drops, and SPIDER-VERSITY April 22nd, but pre-orders are up now, as they always are.
Sweet. Well, and then, where can people follow you, find you, listen to all the podcasts and stuff?
The podcast, Jordan Jesse Go, and Free with Ads. Those are at MaximumFun.org. And I am Jordan David Morris on Instagram, and I'll be posting about comics and events and cons and all that stuff there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Great.
Stephen Ray Morris on all the things, Discord. And look, hold on to your butts. With great power comes great responsibility. So
all that stuff.
Until next time.